We live in a world brimming with tiny unseen helpers. Consider the Apple Airtag, a small, unassuming disc. It's designed to find your lost keys. It helps locate your misplaced backpack. Many view these trackers as simple tools. They are part of our increasingly connected lives. We attach them to our valuables without a second thought. They are meant to simplify, to secure. These trackers are becoming incredibly common. You see them everywhere if you look closely. Or perhaps you don't see them at all. That is part of their design. They are meant to be discreet. People clip them to pet collars. They slip them into luggage before a long journey. They tuck them into wallets. The idea is simple. If something important goes missing, a tap on an app can reveal its location. But what happens when such helpful technology falls into a different narrative? What if its capabilities are turned towards less innocent ends? A tool designed for recovery can inadvertently become a catalyst. It can lead to confrontations. It can draw people into dangerous scenarios. This is a story about one such device. The date was September 8, 2024. It was a Sunday. In Santa Fe, New Mexico, the air was still thick with celebration. Amidst this festive backdrop, something went wrong. A Jeep Cherokee was stolen. For its owner, the day took an unwelcome turn. The joy of the festival likely faded fast. It was replaced by a familiar sense of violation and frustration. The owner quickly realized their vehicle was missing. Panic might have set in. Then, perhaps, a flicker of hope. This was no ordinary theft scenario. The Jeep was not entirely untraceable. Hidden somewhere inside the vehicle was an Apple Airtag, a small digital beacon. The owner knew this. They had placed it there for this exact reason. It was a modern precaution against an age-old crime. Now, it was time to see if it worked. The owner activated the tracking feature. On their smartphone, a map likely appeared. A small dot would have indicated the Jeep's current location. This was technology offering a direct line to their stolen property. The owner made a crucial decision. They decided to involve the authorities. They contacted the Santa Fe Police Department. They reported the Jeep Cherokee stolen. To understand the gravity of the unfolding events, one must understand Fiesta de Santa Fe. This is not just any festival. It is woven into the very fabric of the city. It is a tradition stretching back centuries. It commemorates the reconquest of Santa Fe in 1692. It is a profound expression of history, faith, and culture for the people here. Imagine the city during Fiesta. The streets are alive. There are parades with historical figures. There is the burning of zozobra, Old Man Gloom. Music fills the air from traditional mariachi to contemporary bands. The scent of roasting green chilies and other local delicacies is everywhere. Religious observances like masses and processions are central. It is a time when the community comes together. They celebrate their heritage. They share joy. The incident with the stolen Jeep Cherokee occurred on the last day of this grand celebration. The city was more crowded than usual. Tourists and locals alike thronged the streets. The atmosphere was meant to be one of revelry and peace. Law enforcement resources were likely stretched. The police response was swift. The owner of the stolen Jeep Cherokee was likely at a local McDonald's. Perhaps they were anxiously watching the dot move on their phone screen. Officers were dispatched to meet them. They needed to coordinate. They needed to understand the information the Airtag was providing. This tiny device was now their primary guide. It was leading them through the city streets unseen by the vehicle's new occupant. The Airtag signal was clear. It painted a digital path. This path led officers to a specific residential area, the 2800 block of Don Quixote. It was here, at his father's home, that the suspect was located. The suspect was identified as Rick Robert Chavez. He was 35 years old. The Airtag had done its job flawlessly. It had taken the guesswork out of the search. It pointed directly to the stolen Jeep and to Chavez. Chavez was not just an accidental joyrider. He was known to law enforcement. He had several active arrest warrants. Officers weren't just dealing with a car theft. They were approaching an individual already wanted for other offenses. The tension must have been palpable for the officers. Officers moved to apprehend Rick Robert Chavez at the Don Quixote address. The plan was likely to take him into custody swiftly. Perhaps they hoped for a peaceful resolution. But Chavez had other ideas. Faced with the arrival of law enforcement, he did not surrender. He made a split-second decision. He chose to flee. He jumped back into the stolen Jeep Cherokee. The engine roared to life. The situation instantly escalated. What followed was a high-speed pursuit. The Jeep, with Chavez at the wheel, sped away from Don Quixote. Police vehicles gave chase, sirens wailed, cutting through the otherwise ordinary day. The pursuit weaved through Santa Fe streets. This was no longer a covert tracking operation. It was an open, dangerous chase. The safety of other motorists and pedestrians became an immediate concern. During the chase, officers attempted to employ a pursuit intervention technique. This is often called a pit maneuver. It's a tactic used to force a fleeing vehicle to turn sideways abruptly. The goal is to make the driver lose control and stop. However, in this instance, the technique was unsuccessful. Chavez managed to maintain control of the Jeep. He continued his desperate bid for freedom. The pursuit raged on, becoming more perilous. Despite the collision, the pursuit of Rick Robert Chavez continued. The remaining police units pressed on. They were determined to stop the fleeing Jeep. Officers deployed another tool from their arsenal, stop-stick devices. These are portable tire deflation devices. They are designed to puncture the tires of a vehicle safely. The goal is to bring a chase to a controlled end. This time the tactic worked as intended. The stop sticks made contact with the Jeep's tires. Air began to hiss out. The tires started to deflate. The stolen Cherokee became increasingly difficult to control. Chavez was losing his advantage. The vehicle was failing him. His options were rapidly diminishing. The technology of the stop sticks was working against his escape. He was being cornered, not just by police cars, but by failing equipment. The end of this particular chase was near. The pursuit, now with a hobbled Jeep, led to Vereda de Encanto. It was here that the stolen vehicle finally became undrivable. Chavez knew he could go no further in the Cherokee. He exited the disabled Jeep, but he was not surrendering. As he emerged, it became clear he was armed. He was carrying a handgun. This was a critical escalation. The scene on Vereda de Encanto was now incredibly tense. Officers had Chavez and Thorogood contained within the second vehicle. But Chavez was armed. The potential for further violence was extremely high. Officers likely issued commands. They would have ordered the occupants to show their hands, to surrender. The quiet street was transformed into a tactical standoff. Seconds stretched into an eternity. The air was thick with unspoken threats. Then, the situation exploded. Shots were fired. According to reports, a significant number of rounds were discharged. The Santa Fe New Mexican and NBC7 San Diego reported that a total of 17 shots were fired. Some accounts indicate that Chavez fired his handgun at the officers. This was the moment everyone feared. The confrontation had turned into a gun battle. The officers were now under direct fire. Their lives were in immediate danger. In response to the threat, at least one officer fired their service weapon. They returned fire, aiming at Chavez and Thorogood. The aftermath of the shooting on Vereda de Encanto was grim. Rick Robert Chavez, the primary suspect, had been shot several times. Despite his injuries, he managed to get back into the car driven by George Thorogood Jr. However, his attempt to continue his escape was futile. Chavez succumbed to his wounds. He died there in the vehicle. His desperate flight from justice had ended in the most final way possible. George Anthony Thorogood Jr., the driver of the second vehicle, was also hit. He sustained a gunshot wound to his arm. Unlike Chavez, Thorogood surrendered to the police at the scene. He was given medical treatment for his injuries. Once cleared, he was released into police custody. He would later plead not guilty to several charges. These included aiding a felon and resisting arrest. He was placed under the supervision of pretrial services. The violence also touched the ranks of law enforcement. Santa Fe police officer Charles Oval was shot during the intense altercation. Adding a bizarre and unfortunate layer to the chaos, a police K-9 named Ake was released during the incident. The dog, instead of apprehending a suspect, bit Officer Oval. Officer Oval, fortunately, was eventually released from the hospital. The violent events of September 8, 2024, sent ripples through Santa Fe. The shooting caused significant disruption. It instilled fear among many who were in the city for the Fiesta de Santa Fe. A day of celebration was marred by real-world violence. The news spread quickly. It served as a sobering reminder of the dangers that can erupt even amidst joyous occasions. The community was left to process the shock. Beyond the immediate impact, the incident raised broader questions. It highlighted the role of tracking devices like Apple Airtags in criminal situations. These devices are designed for convenience and recovery, but as this case showed, they can also lead owners or police into direct and potentially volatile confrontations. The public began to discuss the potential dangers. Could such technology inadvertently escalate situations? What were the new risks? The Santa Fe Police Department launched a thorough investigation into the entire incident. This is standard procedure for officer-involved shootings. The aim is to understand the sequence of events fully, to determine if policies were followed, and to learn lessons for the future. Ultimately, the Airtag drama and the 17 shots fired serve as a powerful case study. It's a story about the complex interplay between technology, human behavior, crime, and public safety.